Alright friends, welcome to the Monday Mind, and it is May. What? How? How is it May? Another week has gone by. It is time for another Monday Mine, and I think I'm going to do something different down here today. Instead of just mining out, I want to kind of push these walls back and open this space out, and I want to start making this mine look more like a mine shaft. Right now it just looks like a hallway full of stone and all that stuff. So I think as we're talking today, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of push things out. And so we're going to start making this mine feel a little bit more like home, because we're spending so much time down here. I just want it to look nicer because it looks so great upstairs. Like if we go upstairs, which is this one, it just looks fantastic. And I'm doing this, I know like you guys have seen this like a million times, but there might be a new viewer here today. And so like this is a great space. This looks so good. It's lush and it's got all of these, you know, intricacies and areas and dimensions and stuff. And then we come downstairs and it's like, it's just this open room. So yeah, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get our music started and get ourselves relaxed and ready for the Monday Mine. Enjoy, friends. Today we're going to talk about the importance of consistency. So, one of the hardest things when you're doing something new, or you're trying to stop a bad habit, or engage in something you haven't really engaged with before, the hardest thing about that always is starting. There's the old saying that the journey of 1,000 steps begins with one, and that actually is really true. The hardest part about starting is just there's so much unknown, there's so much resistance in our own mind and in our body sometimes, but we know that, because we've done this before, when we start something, once we get going, then momentum starts to build, and it turns out it's probably not as bad as we thought it was going to be. I went to an event over the weekend, and I can't give you too much detail about it, but I went to this thing, and it was a social event, and I was kind of nervous, and as I was heading to the event, I thought, why did I say I was going to do this? I feel uncomfortable. You know, I have to interact with people, and I can sometimes get a little social anxiety, and so I'm driving there, and I was telling myself, like, it's going to be fine. Like, it was long, too. It was a really long event. But I got there, and you know what? Once I got there and the event started, I had a great time, and I was really glad that I went, and I did enjoy myself. But it is true that a lot of things in life, or almost everything, the hardest part is getting started. What does this have to do with consistency? Well, one thing I've learned just about myself, and it seems to apply to a lot of different things that I've engaged with in life, is that it's a lot easier to keep working at something when you're actively working at it regularly than it is to engage in something really passionately and then take a huge break and then come back and try to do that again. So let me give you a specific example. Working out. When I first got into working out, first started lifting weights and everything, it was extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult for a lot of reasons. For one, I was out of shape. Two, I had no idea what I was doing, so I would go to the gym and observe people and then try to mimic some of those things. And then I was online and watching YouTube videos. There was all this anxiety about the unknown, and was I hurting myself? Was I actually doing the right thing? All of this stuff. But as I got going, I decided early on, like, I'm going to do this every day without any breaks. I'm not going to take any breaks anywhere. I'm just going to work out like every day, all the time. And so what I found was my body got into a kind of rhythm of, hey, at this particular time of day, we're going to work out. Like it just is what it is. Like I don't enjoy it. I'm not looking forward to it. It's not something that I'm actively wanting other than the results that come from it. But once I got in the routine of doing it, I started to find more joy in it, even though it is always difficult. But it was easy to do every day because it was just part of the routine. After a few years of doing that, I think I went like 2.5 years without missing even a single day. Holidays, birthdays, all of them. I still got my workouts in. But then I got to the point kind of where I was like, I'm spending so much of my life working out that it's hurting some of my other passions, other things that I want to do with my time. And so I need to scale back on that. So like now I currently do like a 5-day on, 2-day off kind of thing. But the thing that I noticed right away, and I've noticed this like with music and even like making videos and recording content and all that stuff, is when you take breaks, starting again is actually really difficult. It's a lot harder than if you're just doing it every day. And so I think I've personally come to this conclusion that it's better to give a little consistency to something all the time than to have just like gaps of things and then try to come back for them. Some things in life just demand that, sure, right? Like work. You don't want to work every day, right? I don't want to go to work every single day and not have the weekend off. But why do people say that Mondays are so terrible, that Mondays are so hard? It's because we stopped. And then we're trying to start back up again, And this can apply to a lot of different things, but I really do feel that there's something to be said about the idea that an object in motion tends to stay in motion, right? Things that stop have to have a lot of force to get going again. And so I want you to start thinking about some of the goals that you have in your life, some of the things that you're trying to achieve, and seeing if there's a way to incorporate some kind of large amount of time devoted to that particular skill or particular goal, but then also on the days when you do need to kind of back off from that, or the times that you need to back off, a way to interact with that thing at a smaller degree so that the momentum stays there. So the other thing I've found with this kind of thing too, coming back to like working out, running. So running is like, it's great and I do love it, but the hardest part for me is always the first mile. So usually when I go running, I try to do at least a 5K, and the first mile is always the worst for me. And I've heard from a lot of other runners that it's really the opposite for them. Like it's toward the end that they feel really gassed and they don't want to keep going and finish the run. But for me, it's the opposite. Just the act of getting into the deeper part of the run is the worst part. The whole time I'm like, why am I doing this? I could be doing a million other things. Is this really necessary? And then when I get to the midway part, I'm having a blast. I'm running, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling healthy. My mind is starting to clear up. I can feel anxiety like physically just leaving my body, and it's great. But it's the act of like getting into it, and a lot of times I've tricked myself by saying, you know what, just for the sake of consistency, maybe I don't run a 5K today, maybe just 1 mile's good. Maybe I'll just run 2, or maybe I'll run 1.5, and then instead of weightlifting tomorrow, I'll just run again tomorrow, or something like that. It's some kind of weird trick to trick my mind into getting started, because in the back of my mind, my subconscious, I know what I'm doing already. And what happens is I get on the run and I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll do about a mile. And once I get past that 1 mile mark, guess what? I feel okay. And then I usually wind up completing the entire run. And I say usually, meaning like 99.9% of the time. I think there have been a few times where I just was like genuinely not feeling good. And so I didn't complete what I intended to actually complete. But the point of that story is that you'll be amazed that if you consistently devote a little bit of time to your goal or passion or whatever it is you're trying to do to make your life better or achieve your dreams, you may wind up giving it more time than you even intended to, just because you're in the act of doing it already. And so it might be that you need to engage in something difficult like working out, studying, a social event that you don't feel comfortable with, or something like that, just to kind of push further toward that end goal. And so you may even engage it with the intent of it being a short amount of time, but it will naturally just turn into more time. And every minute that you devote toward achieving your goal matters. It counts. It's like putting pennies into a jar and saying like, oh, well, look, there's 100 pennies in there and that's only $1. No big deal. But when you're not thinking about it and you're constantly just putting the pennies, next thing you know, you've got quite a bit of money in there. And it works the same way when we're devoting time, passion, and energy into our dreams. We're giving these little bits, and at first we're looking and going, you know what, I'm not seeing huge gains from this. Am I wasting my time? Is it worth it? But you know what? Keep doing it. keep persevering, keep dropping those pennies into the bucket, because the next thing you know, it will add up and make a difference. Coming back to music, so here's another life example that I just recently had. So I'm a musician. I've not been playing my guitar in front of people a lot in the last year and a half or anything like that. So I've been playing guitar, but I just haven't been playing in front of people. And so there was an opportunity for me to do that at my place of employment. I went there, and there was a kind of an event going on, and someone else was playing guitar, and they were thinking of using me as kind of an accompaniment to that person, and I was rehearsing with them, and I had the guitar at work, and then I actively just asked a few people at the end of the day, hey, do you mind if I just play a song for you, an original song I wrote, and sing and play this for you? And I was really, really nervous, and I was surprised at how nervous I was. But then I realized, you know what? It's just because I haven't been doing this in front of people. And so I did it for a few people, and it was very, very nerve-wracking for each one of the performances, but they all seemed like they enjoyed it, you know? So that was great, and I felt good because I got to actually like demonstrate a skill and maybe entertain somebody, which is exactly what I'm trying to also do with this channel. And offer some encouragement and some motivation for improving our lives here. And so, but it kind of woke me up to like, hey man, you need to be like doing this more often. You need to find ways to incorporate performance in front of people if this is something I want to actually feel comfortable with doing in my life. And that's a whole nother thing, another topic that we've talked about before, is kind of assessing, well, do I even care? Do I really need to be comfortable performing in front of other people on my guitar if I don't plan on ever actively being in a band again or doing anything like that? Then the answer is no. Or maybe I do want it, but it's just for my own wants and desires, which is fine too. And so, but the point of all of that is that if we take breaks from our goals, if we put things off, specifically like homework, house chores, working out, those kinds of things, we're making it harder to get started again when it's time to actually get going. And so we create unnecessary strife and hardship in our life. And so I just wanted to encourage you today to look at your goals and just try to figure out a way for you to devote a small amount of time to that. And I have said this before on the channel in different ways before, but it really is key to be constantly engaging in something and come back to that idea that an object in motion tends to stay in motion. You can achieve your goals, friends. You can get to whatever you're trying to get to. You can do it. I know you can do it. There's so many things in my life I've achieved that I was like, there's no way I will ever achieve that. And I didn't get there by just overnighting it. Like, that's just not how it works. That's how we want everything in life. We just want it now, but it's just not how things work. But I did achieve those goals. Some really huge goals that I really thought were beyond reach. And when I look back and I try to see, like, how did I actually get there? It was a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of really, really small things, small decisions, small conversations, small engagements, small commitments that were consistently happening throughout long periods of time that helped me get to that point. So, guys, don't give up. Believe in yourselves. You can do it. I know you can, and stay consistent. And I will see you guys in the next episode of Mining Positivity. Have a fantastic week. Bye, friends. All right, the first half of the hallway is completed here as far as gutting it and adding some texture with the upside down stairs and slabs. And I kind of like mixing the cobbled deep slate with the regular deep slate because it looks like shadows on the floor to me. Like, it literally just looks like there are like these deep shadows that are on the floor. And I think it just adds a nice like visual break on there because you get the actual shadows from the game and then your cobbled deep slate shadows. And then we'll put some green in here. Maybe even add a little bit of lava in some certain places. It'll start looking more like an actual mine. So when we come down here to mine diamond, we get a nice view upstairs, but we also get a nice view down here. I kind of wanted to push the ceiling a little higher than this, but I don't want to go too crazy because this is really deep down. So, and then we're going to need to put some like spruce wood supports in here to make it a little bit better. So, but hey, not bad at all. We got 6 diamond and got, you know, some raw iron without even mining. So yeah, that was great. Guys, thanks again for joining me. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, friends.